Alright, hello everyone and welcome to week 2, but video 3 of me writing about and paper dragging. This week's challenge was a comic which I did not record because it was a lot of me faffing. I think I did about 8 different sketches and one got half line arted and then I started it. Basically, it's not a process that needed recording, even if it might have been interesting. But I did decide to draw up the looks that were featured in the comic because I did design them and I thought, why not? Might as well finish them up. This. As you can see, like, I started sketching and I wasn't really vibing any of the poses that I was sketching. I was having a real hard time finding a pose that I liked, and like I knew the kind of thing that I wanted, but I was struggling. And you can see me tabbing in and out to Google and look at Pinterest and just have a bit of a fuss around and try and find something that I really liked. And then I ended up on this pose, which is Winnie with one leg up, because obviously I wanted something that felt clowny and ballerina-y because the designs are kind of like a mesh of those things. But yeah, I spent ages sketching. It took so long. Particularly just for Winnie. Malaria's took like 2 seconds, so I don't know what I wanted for that. But since I already had the looks designed, I think I was being too conscious of how the actual like outfits would look in the poses, because I wanted to show off the outfits. And yeah, I was just fussing. But then we got on this one, but it was fine. I finished this one. It didn't take me very long once I got onto it. I think both looks combined took 2 hours. Well, the video was 2 hours, and obviously I trim out any excessive dawdling that I do during it. So it's probably give or take like probably an hour 45 for both of them. Which is quite quick, but again, like, I'd already designed them. You don't see that file in this because I had a design file that I used when I was drawing the comic to reference the outfits and where I was placing the grayscale colours, because I hadn't designed them in colour. This was the first time I was doing them in colour. So I did have to pick the colours for this, but I kind of knew what vibe I wanted, at least for Winnie's. And Malaria's I had a bit more of a think about, but I ended up with more, I don't know, I want to say like classic town colours, but I feel like that kind of maroon yellow combo you see quite a lot in like clowny circusy art. It's a nice colour combo, so can anyone be blamed? As you can see, when I did the face, I did copy and paste it. Normally when I do faces like that, which you'll see again, I keep referencing Malaria's the lower look, I'll just use the symmetry tool, which Clip Studio Paint has to do it, but this time I didn't, and then I was like, I'm just going to copy and paste it and flip it, because it was just easier. Sometimes when you put the symmetry tool on after you've done half of your sketch and then sketch over the existing sketch, it doesn't vibe right. And here you can see I'm adjusting the ruffles a little bit because the curve wasn't quite right. It's still not quite right. It looks fine once it's coloured. I think the shadows really helped, but in the line art it's still not quite. It's odd. Obviously there is a bit of a, like, her neck is probably impossibly long underneath all those ruffles. I didn't actually sketch the neck. But I don't feel like there's that much to talk about with these looks, like clowns. It's lots of mix and match patterns with brightish colours and nonsense poses. So let's talk about something else. Let's talk about what I do outside of this nonsense, which is draw mostly. I'm self-employed at the moment, God bless. And I run an Etsy shop and I do all my artwork for that, and I do commissions and like freelance stuff. which is what I spend most of my time doing. If I'm not drawing, I'm playing video games. For those of you that have me on Discord will know that I spend an inordinate amount of time on Magckk the Gathering Arena. It has been my addiction for many years. I say many years, like since it came out in beta. It's still in beta, but I think they say it's not. What do they say it is? I don't remember. Either way, I've been playing it since it came out. It's an addiction. I don't recommend it, but it does save me from spending real life money on the cards. Don't do it. But I like deck building. It's primarily why I do it. You know, there's something fun about being like, oh, that card will work with that card, and that card will work with that card. But so mostly I just play absolute nonsense. I don't really play anything that's particularly meta. Beyond Magckk, like, I used to play video games all the time, but most of the time I spend my time nowadays thinking about playing video games, and then being like, but I should be drawing, and then actually not doing either of those things, because I don't want to draw. But I also don't want to play video games, because I should be drawing. I play a lot of Vermintide 2, which is very fun, and I was playing Persona 4 Golden as that came out on Steam, and I've played the original on PS2, but I never got to play Golden because I didn't own a Vita, which is sick. I love it. Persona's one of my favourite game series. I love all of them. I haven't played Royal yet, but obviously I have played 5. And I've played 3, and I have played 4. Oh, they're so good. Golden has such great quality of life improvements over the original base game though. And you can definitely see that they were trying stuff out that they wanted to include in 5, which I think's banging. And from what I've heard, I haven't like spoiled myself too much on what's in Royal, because I do want to play it, but it sounds like the quality of life improvements they've put into that are also quite great. But yeah, I was doing an 100% social link run, so it was semi-slow, but fun. I just haven't played it in ages. We've actually gotten back into Monster Hunter Wilds again. I've had it since like last Christmas, and we were playing it a lot, and then we just stopped, and then now I'm just back into it again. Like, it tickles me in the right way. I love the monsters, I love the RPG stuff, and I'm an absolute sucker for games that have a fashion element to them. If you can tell from the fact that I take part in fashion-y competitions, I like fashion. And Monster Hunter definitely tickles that. It reminds me of why I used to play Warframe for an inordinate amount of time, because it's like, oh yes, dressing up and looking fun. That's fun. But yeah. Beyond that, like, I don't know, I don't play video games as much anymore. I've been replaying Final Fantasy 9 for about the 20th millionth time. Like, I own it on, like, every console in existence. Like, I have played 9 since I was, like, 12. In fact, probably younger than 12, because I was playing it when I was in primary school, so, like, 9. Which is horrific to think about, but I've completed that game so many times. I need to learn how to somewhat speedrun it, to be honest, so that I can finally get my hands on Excalibur 2. I don't know if that's worth it. But you know, the annoying thing is that I'm playing it on Switch, which doesn't come with the achievements. Like, if I was playing it on Steam, I'd probably be more compelled to attempt to get Excalibur 2. Alas. So, you can see me here. Actually, this is something that's kind of interesting. I will often use gradient maps to fuck about with the colours a little bit, to add a sort of different kind of tone to it. In this case, I didn't know what I wanted, but I was just playing about with it to see if there was anything that I really liked. And in the case, we ended up with this. It keeps kind of close to the original colours because everything was done in like pinks and purples, and then the gradient map adds a sort of green kind of seafoamy undertone to everything, which is something I quite liked. I liked that it added it to the shadows. It gave it a little bit more dimension. It's something that you can do real quick to make your art look just a little bit more interesting, if that's what, like, if you're like looking at it and you're like, something's bothering me, it doesn't feel quite right. Get a gradient map, put it on, whatever, mess about with the layer settings, and just go to town. I do something similar on Malaria. It doesn't quite work out as well, but I do still like the look. But yeah, I definitely recommend gradient maps. If you work in grayscale to colour, they're another way to add colour to your art. So you can see here I'm using the symmetry tool to do Malaria's look, because I knew what I wanted. I have issues with my depiction of Malaria in the sense that it looks like Malaria now, and I don't think it does at the end. But that's just... I think it's how I currently paint makeup on digitally. There's something that's not 100% on it, and it's something that I'm struggling with in the current week's look, which I have started. It's nearly finished, but I'm having a fuss with the face. I think, I don't know, too many layers, I think, too many layers. But yeah, this look, I knew kind of the pose that I wanted. I knew the look itself, in terms of silhouette, is a lot simpler than Winnie's, which was like big and puffy. There's still some puff in this look, but it was mostly about the slightly sleeker, but it was mostly about having fuzzy balls everywhere. Winnie's was ruffles, Malaria's was balls. So you can see she's got balls around her neck, fuzzy balls on her hands, hat, crotch, legs everywhere. Very quickly there you actually saw the other file, which is where I did the initial sketches for the looks. They're very rough, but it's where I drag Malaria's skin tone from, and then you can see here I'm starting to block in the colours. I'm having a little bit of a fiddle, but generally I knew that I wanted that kind of warm toned yellows, maroons look. Lots of alternating things in the pants, alternating... I'm just going to keep saying the word alternating until that makes sense. Sorry. But neither of these looks had particularly heavy like shading done to them, because they're so heavily patterned. I didn't want to shade them too heavily, so both of them got a similar treatment in that they got a multiply layer with a little bit of softening in places and a little bit of like soft light and glow dodge to make highlights basically. But yeah, I wanted to keep it simple when it comes to pattern looks. I think I went over this when I talked about it on the tartan dresses, that I just don't like it. I don't like adding too much shadow, because I just think it gets real mucky real fast, at least in the way that I make and do patterned looks. In my case, when I do it, it looks like it gets too muddy. There are plenty of artists out there that have got it down and, you know, can do it. I can't. So here I'm just editing up some of the bits. I've coloured the lines. I'm just going in and doing a little bit of painting. In the case of, I didn't do this too much on Winnie's because I didn't need it, but for Malaria's I did go over the balls to actually make them look fuzzy, because I wanted that look. I didn't just want them to be orbs. They are fluffy balls. I was talking about video games, and now we're talking about fluffy balls. There probably are fluffy balls in video games. Probably plenty of fluffy balls in video games. Placement wise, this week I came top again, which is fine. It's my comic was long. It was one page, but I definitely got away with that just because they didn't specify what their definition of one page was, and I definitely could have gone over it and made the joke shorter and made the whole thing shorter, but I'm a butt, and I didn't want to. So all of my sketches were long. In fact, that was the shortest version of any of the comics that I drew, so the others were longer because I just don't have an ability to self-edit like that. I'm not very good with the comics. Generally I either do like one panel per square type thing, or I do really long ones, so it's not... There's another comic challenge going. I'll have to try on. This week's is a co-op. I'm so bad. I've been playing too many videos. Co-op. It's a team challenge. It'll be fun. It's fun. I like my look. No spoilers. No spoilers on it. But yeah, I'm pleased with how these looks came out. I like the effects. You can see there's still things that I don't super careful in my editing of malarias, and it's just the yellows really. I preferred the slightly creamier warm toned yellows, but I've ended up in like a really cool toned yellow, which is kind of interesting, but not necessarily what I wanted. But it'd be what it'd be, you know. But they look fun together. I enjoy them. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'll see you all next week with next week's looks, with a bit of censorship, but next week's looks. I hope you're all well, and thank you so much for watching.